Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. So guys, as you can see, today we'll be looking at physical sciences, physics paper 1. So this lesson is suitable for grade 10s, 11 and 12. So guys, I hope you enjoy today's lesson. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to quickly read through the given statement. I suppose everyone is ready for this question, and you're looking forward to see how to solve this question. So, guys, a crate with a mass of 25 kg slides down a plane which is inclined at 15 degrees to the horizontal. During the first part of the motion from A to B, there is no friction between the crate and the plane. But part BC has a rough surface. So, ladies and gentlemen, I suppose you are able to see exactly what I'm reading on my screen. Otherwise, if you're not able to see, it could be that maybe the video is blurry, or for some other reasons. If you're not able to see, I would advise you to just, I think on your screen, on the top right corner, there are 3 dots. If you can just click on those 3 dots and click on quality. From there, I think down there you click on advanced, then you should be able to choose the quality. I think the last one at the top, it should be 480p, so you can just click on that one. You should be able to then see clearly on the screen of my tablet. But otherwise, I've tried to write that statement there, even though my handwriting is not that good, so you might not be able to clearly see even there. But then I've just written that information so that from time to time, when I solve these questions, I can easily refer to that statement that I wrote by hand, instead of having to bring this tablet from time to time. But otherwise, guys, let me just go through that statement for the last time. Remember, in case if you need to write down notes, at this stage, you don't have to worry that much, because I'm going to make this lesson available as soon as we are done with this class. From there, that's when you can be able to rewatch it over and over again. So that will be the best time for you to write down the notes. But at this stage, the only thing that you need is just a calculator next to you and a glass of water. No need to take any notes, no need to write any notes. You just watch and have your calculator next to you, just in case if you need to confirm something, you can quickly punch on a calculator. And again, there might be a situation where I advise you to use a calculator. So guys, remember, these questions are there on my Telegram channel. That's why I post all the question papers for high school subjects. So you don't necessarily need to write down all of this information. If you've got a Telegram account, you can just search for Solve Your Exam Papers. Then you should be able to find my channel. I think there's an option to join. So you just join, and then you'll be able to access all the question papers that I've posted for English first additional language, geography, life sciences, accounting, business studies, geography. I've actually posted a lot of question papers there. So I don't only post the question papers for the subjects that I treat, but for almost all the high school subjects. So guys, you can just check it out. That's where you'll find this question paper that we're doing today. So for the last time, let's go through that statement. So guys, a crate with a mass of 25 kg slides down a plane which is inclined at 15 degrees to the horizontal. Okay, so remember guys, just with just that statement, you can start to draw a that diagram with that information which is given. So obviously they are saying a crate with that particular mass slides down a plane inclined at an angle of 15 to the horizontal. So that means you already know. Let's say for the purpose of just drawing this diagram, let me just draw it in that direction. I just want to indicate to you that with that information you can start to draw something. Then before we start with the first question, I'll show you why from time to time when we read a statement I try to redraw the diagram even though it's already given. So guys, they say it's 25 kg, and again remember it doesn't really matter that much if I draw this in that direction. It's because direction is not really a factor to this question. It doesn't really matter whether you draw it in that way or that way. That's why even in the statement they didn't specify the direction in which that object of 25 kg is sliding. So now we know it's 25 kg and which is inclined at 15 degrees. Then we know this is the angle which is inclined at 15 degrees to the horizontal. Very much important, guys. So that means this is the horizontal and there's an inclination there, which is where that object of 25 kg is sliding, and that angle of inclination to the horizontal, this is the horizontal line that they are talking about, and this is the angle of inclination, which is 15 degrees. Okay, 15 degrees to the horizontal. So guys, the statement continues to say during the first part of the motion from A to B, there is no friction between the crate and the plane, but part BC has a rough surface, which is an indication to me that from the top up until the bottom, there's a portion which is smooth and there's a portion which is rough. So obviously because they said during the first part of the motion, so that means from there up to there, because it's the first part of the motion, so it's a smooth surface. There's no frictional force, there's no force of friction. Okay, so then they say but part BC has a rough surface, which means this is the part which is rough. So that means there's frictional force on that part. So obviously they've just indicated in terms of letters to say this will be A, this will be B, and this will be C. So can you see, guys, this diagram, it's almost the same as that diagram. Okay, so before I start with the first question, I'm aware there's someone who's actually hoping that I explain the reason why I'm doing what I did. Guys, very, very much important. At all times when you do questions, when you're given a statement, try to visualize that statement. If there's a need to draw a diagram, please do draw a diagram. The reason to that is because when you do multiple choice type of questions, they normally just give you a statement. And the reason to that is to just check if you are able to read the statement, if you are able to visualize the statement, and again, if you've got the ability to draw the diagram based on the given statement, because that's when they give you a statement and give you multiple choice where you need to choose. But obviously for you, in order to make the right choice, in order to make the correct choice, you should be able to convert that statement into a diagram, because that's where your answer will come from. So you might not be able to capture all the information at the same time, interpret the information, and then from there, based on the multiple choice, be able to do the right choice. But otherwise, if you've got a visualization of that statement, you can just draw the diagram and refer to that diagram based on the questions that you'll be given. In that way, you'll be able to easily cancel out the questions which are irrelevant to the statement, or irrelevant to the diagram that you've drawn. In that way, you'll be able to select the best choice. So guys, enough of that. I hope you understood what I meant, and at this stage we can just get ready to start with our very first question. Okay, so let's have a look at our first question. The first question, which is what I thought, it says draw a free body diagram of all the forces acting on the crate when it moves from B to C. And this question is allocated 3 marks. Okay, so guys, it's not only about being able to provide the answers to the questions. It's not only about you being able to know exactly what it is expected of you to do. Okay, so guys, before you start to write anything with attempt to answer a question, please do make sure that you understand the question, because in every question, not necessarily in every question, but in most questions, there are some specifications. Okay, what am I talking about, guys? There's someone who knows what a free body diagram is. There's someone who knows what a free body diagram looks like. Okay, so you might be in an exam, you might find that you're doing this as your last question, and they've just indicated that you're remaining with 10 minutes. So guys, for that reason, please do not read the questions. Do not read 50% of the question. Do not only look on the question and only take into consideration the keywords. Okay, so guys, what I'm trying to say in short is, even if you're in a rush, do not just say draw a free body diagram for all the forces acting. Then from there you say, okay, no, this question wants me to calculate. To draw a free body diagram. Even in calculation, some learners they do exactly that. They just look at the question, they read the first part of the question or half of the question, or maybe up to there, and then from there they decide they know exactly what they want. So now you will either lose some marks, you will either give incorrect or irrelevant responses to the question, and you might end up losing some obvious or some free marks. So guys, let's now analyze this question. They are saying draw a free body diagram of all the forces acting on the crate. This part we all understand. But if you are in a rush and you don't read up to the end, just listen to this. They say while it moves from B to C. Very, very much important. So that means they want the free body diagram of that grade when it's between B and C. Okay, so you are most likely to just give a free body diagram while it's at that point if you don't read the whole question. So guys, I assume at this stage you fully understand what the question wants us to do. 5.1, and this question, remember, is allocated 3 marks. Okay, this question is allocated 3 marks. Another thing, guys, especially when it comes to this chapter, I always say take into consideration the amount of marks you are given per question. This will guide you in terms of how many forces you might need to provide for this question. So remember, guys, when you do a free body diagram, you can just start with a dot there. Okay, you start with that dot, and then from there you know you've got what we call a normal force. Okay, a normal force. So remember, you must also show that arrow. Okay, it could be a different story if you don't show that arrow. So it's an arrow, and then you can just say N. Okay, otherwise you can say or force normal. Okay, whichever way you do it. But guys, most importantly, that normal force or force normal is perpendicular to this incline. Okay, so you shouldn't just for example do a dot and say this will be a normal force. Can you see this line is not perpendicular to that line? So that means your force from there should be in that angle, okay, which is perpendicular to that surface. Okay, and then from there you move to the next force, which is obviously a force of gravity. You can just say Fg, okay, or one may say a weight. Okay, so guys, very much important, this force of gravity, it's perpendicular to that horizontal line. Okay, it's perpendicular to that horizontal line, so you just make a vertical line with an arrow pointing downwards. So it's more like from there, this is the force. Okay, it's more like this is the force of gravity, guys. Okay, very much important. And again, guys, because from B to C, or between B and C, you've got a rough surface, that means you've got a frictional force. Okay, so a frictional force, it's parallel to that inclined. Okay, so that means in that direction, remember an arrow, very much important, guys, in that direction, this is where you've got frictional force. Okay, someone may just indicate with that a small letter F, which refers to the frictional force. So guys, this is your free body diagram, so you can just have a small F there. Okay, so guys, this is an answer to question 5.1. So this is exactly where you score your marks. Obviously, this is obvious, guys. You can even mark this for yourself. So they'll give you 1 mark, 1 mark, and 1 mark there. Okay, so guys, listen to me. We are done with 5.1. But for the purpose of having for the purpose of giving you an extra information, let's just draw a free body diagram of that object while it's sliding between A and B. Okay, so you'd obviously have that dot. Most importantly, a force of gravity. You're most likely to always have force of gravity in questions related to this chapter. And again, you've got normal force. The same principles applies even here, guys. Normal force perpendicular to that inclined. Okay, a gravitational force perpendicular to that horizontal. Okay, in this case, you should ask yourself, have you got a frictional force between A and B? No. Then that means you don't show a force of friction. Okay, is there any force or any external force applied on that object? The answer is no. You haven't got an external force. What is an external force? It could be that force where something or someone is pushing, which is referred to as force in most cases, or otherwise you could have tension, or for example, something or someone might be pulling this object in that direction. Okay, so if there was an external force, you would add it on this free body diagram, but in this case we haven't got any external force, so that means this is just sliding as a result of gravitational force. Okay, so guys, I think we should now move to question 5.2. Okay, I see someone is asking themselves something. So guys, this would be allocated 2 marks. Okay, so it was going to be a mark for that and a mark for this. Okay, so this is how you would score 2 marks. So it also serves as an indication that you're most likely to provide 2 forces acting on that object when it's still between A and B. Okay, so guys, let's move to the next question. So you can just in the meantime have a glass of water. Okay, let me actually just save that. So this is just in case if I need to refer to that answer, then I can still have it on record. So guys, let's now move to question 5.2. Okay, so let's see. Question 5.2 says, calculate the magnitude of the acceleration of the crate while it moves from A to B. Guys, very, very much important. While it moves from A to B. Okay? What is it that they want us to calculate? They want us to calculate they want us to calculate the magnitude of the acceleration of the crate. Okay, so guys, this is something that you should also note. When it comes to this chapter, you've got a very, very simple formula that you use. You just need to understand the scenario. You just need to understand the statement. You just need to understand exactly what's happening. And everything comes down to this formula if you want to calculate anything. Force net. Let me just try a different marker. I think it's still wet. Okay, force net or net force is equals to MA. Guys, in grade 11 and 12, and again at tertiary level, this formula is very, very much important, guys. What is the word net? Net means total, that we know. Okay, then total of what? Total of forces. Which forces? Forces acting on that particular object. Okay, what is that particular object? Is the object of 25 kg, which is sliding from A to B. Okay, so between A and B, guys, what forces have we got on that object? Very, very much important. What forces have we got on that object when it's sliding between A and B? I've just done that free body diagram. So guys, the reason why for this chapter they firstly ask you for a free body diagram is to be able to notice if you're going to perform the correct calculations, because based on your free body diagram, that's when you'll be able to know exactly what to substitute on this formula. So when that crate moves from A to B, let's see, when it moves from A to B, this is the force that we have got, which is force of gravity, and the other force that we've got is force normal. So guys, it's exactly what I've done on the first question, where we did a free body diagram of this object while it's still between A and B. Okay, so remember, force of normal, it's never included in that formula. Okay, so that means, guys, when we say force net or force total, we are talking about all the forces acting on that object when it's between A and B, as the question says. Okay, so now what is an equation for FG? We know it's mg. This is the force as a result of gravity, and again, because this object is sliding at an angle, at a particular angle, which is 15 in this case, that's why that formula has sine theta. Okay, theta, it refers to that angle, which is 15 degrees in this case. Even if there was no angle, let's say that object was moving on a horizontal surface, okay, that means the angle is 0 because there's no angle of inclination, it's just horizontal. The formula doesn't change, guys. The formula remains. Okay, so for just a less than 30 seconds, guys. Remember, I haven't started answering this question. I just want to give you this background so that you're able to understand when we solve for that question. Guys, in less than 30 seconds, I'm giving you this exercise to do. Just say sine 0 degrees and tell me what answer you get. So I'll just get quickly go to grab my cup of water, then use this opportunity to just punch sine 0 and comment on the comment section to let me know what answer you get. I'll be back shortly to explain to you in detail why I said you must do that exercise. So I'm just quickly going to get some water. Okay, guys, so I suppose you've got an answer of which I assume it should be 1. Let's see, sine 0, what is it? Let's see. Okay, let's see, sine 0, it's equals to, okay, it's 0. And again, before I forget, guys, I've just mentioned this, when was it? I think it was yesterday. On yesterday's lesson, I've indicated that at all times, make sure that when you go to an exam, especially for physical sciences and maths, your calculator is on degrees, okay? Otherwise, it will end in tears. I won't go deep into that. I assume you know at this stage. So guys, I've just given you exercise to do that, okay? So the answer that you got is 0, right? So if you got 0, what it means is that for an object which is on a horizontal surface, it's not moving in that direction, it's not moving in that direction when there's no external force. And again, it's not moving downwards because it's sitting on a horizontal surface. It's balanced by a normal force. Okay, so the reason why I said that formula doesn't change, the formula remains. This thing has a mass of 25 kg, for example. So because of sine is 0, then it means if you substitute there sine 0, the mass can be 25 g, it's 9.8. And when you try to calculate the force on this object, as a result of gravitational acceleration, it's equals to 0. What I'm saying is, if you say 25 times 9.8 times sine 0, the answer that you get is 0 Newton. So that means this object, it's not moving in any direction as a result of gravitational acceleration or gravitational force. Why? Because the angle is 0, so it's not in any way moving, it's just standing there. Okay, but what happens when that object now it's no longer sitting on a horizontal surface, but it's sitting on a surface which is at an angle? What happens to that object? It starts to slide downwards. Why is it sliding? It's because now the angle has increased from 0 to a certain number, which in that case it's 15. So the reason why you might need to substitute 15 there, and when you punch sine 15, you'll obviously no longer get a 0. You'll get an answer. Okay, so that answer that you get when you multiply it with 9.8, when you multiply it with a mass of 25 kg, you will get a certain value, which is the force experienced by this object as a result of gravitational force while sitting at that angle of 15 degrees on that surface. Okay, so that means because of that 15 degrees, it makes this angle to slide. So that is the reason why this object it's sliding, even though there's no external force. No one is pushing that object, nothing is pulling that object, but it's sliding. Why is it sliding? It's because it's sitting on an inclined, which is at an angle of 15 degrees. Okay, so that means if it was sitting on a horizontal surface at 0 degrees, it wasn't going to slide. So that's why, guys, I want you to have a better understanding of why that object it's sliding, okay, even though there's no external force. So guys, I'm not sure if that helped, but otherwise at a later stage you might fully understand exactly what I was doing. But for now, what matters the most is that at all times with this type of questions, the formula that we use is the same. There are different ways in which you can approach that question, but this is what I would generally advise each of you to approach this question in this way. So guys, very much important, this is the force net. Okay, I've just indicated to you that the only force acting on that object between A and B is the force of gravity. So is the force of gravity. Okay, so this force of gravity will be equals to ma. This is that ma. So I'm just expanding this formula. Okay, so what is the equation for force of gravity, guys? We know it's mg, okay, sine angle, okay, which is equals to ma. This is that ma. Okay, so guys, very much easy. We just substitute all the information that we have and we solve for the unknown. I'm not sure if everyone still remember what is the unknown or what exactly are we calculating. Guys, we are calculating the magnitude of acceleration of the crate while it moves from A to B. Okay, so A is what we are looking for. So this is what we are looking for. So guys, I'm giving you this question. You tell me, have you got the mass? An answer to that question is yes. What about G? G is always 9.8. Okay, sine it's sine on a calculator is there. What is the angle? The angle is 15. Have you got the mass? The same mass is the same mass that we substitute even on this side of the equation. A, have you got A? No. Why? It's the question. This is what the question wants us to calculate. So now let's substitute. What is the mass? Is 25 kg. Guys, mass in physics, it's measured in kilograms. Okay, so if for some reason that mass was maybe let's say 25,000 grams. Okay, if it's given in grams, convert it to kilograms. Just divide it by 1,000 and you're going to get 25 kg. Okay, so you must first convert the mass to kilograms, and then from there that's when you can substitute into the formula. So now guys, have we got G? G, it's 9.8. okay, sine theta, what is the angle? The angle is 15 degrees, which is equals to mass is 25. Acceleration, it's exactly what we're looking for. Guys, this thing is called acceleration. If it's not acceleration, it's what? What is the opposite of acceleration? I'm not sure if I should tell you or give it to you as a homework. But otherwise, guys, for now, let me give it to you as your homework. Please do comment by letting me know exactly what is acceleration or what it means by acceleration when you compare it with the opposite of acceleration. Okay, so guys, let's now solve for this question. Obviously 25 by 25, they will cancel each other, so that means you punch all of these, it will be equals to A. Okay, so that means our A, it's equals to I'm not sure if I'm running out of ink. Let's see, it's equals to, I hope you're able to see, guys. I'm just going to pull out my calculator, then open bracket 9.8, close, sine angle, which is 15, it's equals to 2.5, and then I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places, then it becomes 2.54. 2.54. Very much important, the SI unit. Okay, This is the SI unit for acceleration. So guys, I'm done with this question. Okay, this is how you calculate the acceleration. Where do you score marks? Guys, you can either write this formula or that formula or this formula. We just give you a mark. 3 marks. Remember guys, this question is allocated how many marks? It's allocated 4 marks, as you can see. So I'm going to give you 4 marks for this question. So this is where you score your first mark. Okay, where do you get your second mark? For correct substitution, guys, for you to substitute correctly, we give you a mark. Okay, so guys, obviously this is where you score your last mark. That's an obvious thing. Your last question, it's allocated a mark. But most importantly, it should have the correct SI unit. Okay, don't just say 2.54. You might lose a mark, you might score half a mark, I'm not sure. But what I know is that if you give the answer and the SI unit 100%. Okay, so guys, let me see what question 5.3 says. It's just allocated 1 mark, so it doesn't need a lot of calculations or thinking. So let's just read through the question. Hope you're able to see. So 5.3 says write down the direction of the acceleration of the crate while it slows down from B to C. Write only up the slope or down the slope. Sure, guys, here you need to apply your mind. Here you really need to apply your mind. And again, guys, just so that I'm not really sure if I should just wipe all of these, but I think there's someone who's still busy copying. But otherwise, okay, no, just squeeze this question somewhere there, because it's actually it's mostly about you having an understanding sort of what's going on there. So guys, when this object moves or slides from A to B, my question to you is it increasing in terms of velocity or speed, or is it decreasing? That's the question that I'm asking you guys. And again, when it moves from B to C, that object, will it be increasing in terms of its speed or velocity, or will it be decreasing? Guys, you can just post on the comment section if you've got an answer to my question. Guys, I'm just going to indicate to you that when this object or when this crate moves from A to B, okay, when it moves from A to B, its velocity or speed, it's increasing. So its acceleration increases. Remember, guys, it may be sliding at a speed of, let's say, 2 kilometers per hour from there, and you find that when it gets there, its velocity would have increased. Okay, it doesn't really matter in terms of at what speed it's moving at that point, at that versus at that point. What matters the most is the velocity as it slides down increase or decrease. Is it increasing or is it decreasing? And between B and C, is it decreasing or is it increasing? So guys, I might as well just answer the question that I gave you when we're doing this 5.2. So listen to this, guys. When this object slides from point A to B, its acceleration, it's increasing. I'm not sure if you understand what I'm saying, guys. When this object slides from A to B, okay, its acceleration is increasing. What does it mean? It means its velocity it's increasing as it moves from A to B. So that means if at that point it was 10 meters per second, when it gets to that point, it will be over 10 meters per second. Let's say maybe 20 meters per second. Why is it increasing? It's because there's no frictional force. Okay, it's because there's no frictional force which is acting in the opposite direction in which that object is moving. So now when this object moves from that point B to C, that velocity of 20 meters per second, it now starts to decrease, guys. Why is it decreasing? Obviously because there's a frictional force. So that's the reason why the speed from there up to there starts to decrease. Okay, so that means its acceleration decreases. Let me just try a different marker. So guys, its acceleration decreases. Okay, why is it decreasing? Because there's a frictional force. Okay, there's force of friction between B and C. What does it mean in terms of its velocity? Its velocity is also decreasing. Okay, so guys, this is where we now have a deceleration. Okay, which is, it should be the opposite of acceleration. So it's either an object, it's accelerating. That means that's when you're driving a car and you're stepping on an accelerator. Obviously, that means you're increasing the speed. When you increase the speed, what happens? You increase the acceleration. Okay, that means the velocity final minus the velocity initial over time between the point where you covered a distance from initial velocity to final velocity has increased. Okay, remember the formula for acceleration, it's equals to v final minus v initial over time. So that means when you step on acceleration, you are increasing the velocity. So we compare the velocity by the time when you start to step on the acceleration versus the time when you stop accelerating. Over that period of time, we can make use of that information to calculate your acceleration. Okay, so guys, when you now step on the brakes, what happens to the car? When you step on the brake, it starts to slow down. Okay, so it's more like this, the brake acts as a force which is acting in the opposite direction of the direction in which the object is moving. Okay, so what it does, it reduces the speed of the vehicle. So now what happens to the acceleration? Does it increase? No. What does it do? It decreases. So that's why I'm saying when you increase the speed or the velocity of an object, you are accelerating. When you decrease, you are decelerating. Okay, can you just consult with your teacher if the word deceleration exists, or if the word decelerating refers to what I'm talking about. So guys, if this object is moving between A and B, what happens to its acceleration? Is it accelerating, or what happens? It's obviously decelerating. I've just explained. So in answering the question says write down the direction of the acceleration of the crate while it slows down from B to C. I hope at this stage you now understand that this object slows between B and C and why it's slowing down. I assume at this stage you fully understand. So now they just want you to write down the direction of the acceleration, and you just write only up the slope or down the slope. In which direction? If you say down the slope, it means this object is increasing as it moves from B to C. But if you say up the slope, it means this object, its acceleration is decreasing as it moves from B to C. Okay, so that obviously means the answer to this question is up the slope. I hope you fully understand. You haven't got any questions in relation to this question. So that means 5.3 is up. Guys, write it exactly as it is given you as a multiple choice. Just write in capital letter to say up the slope. You don't want to be writing your own thing there and you end up not getting marks because you didn't write what was expected of you to write. Okay, so this is how you score your 1 mark. It's not allocated a lot of marks. This question is just 1 mark, which means it's not that much complicated. Okay, so guys, let's now move to question 5.3. No, it's 5.4. I just noticed that we moved to 5.4. So let's have a look at the question. So the question says the magnitude of the net acceleration from B to C is 1.2 meters per square second. Calculate the magnitude of the frictional force acting on the crate. Very, 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 very much interesting, guys. This question is very, very much interesting, and I hope you'll be with me on this question when you try to apply our mind, because this question, guys, it's mostly to test the level of your understanding. So guys, I'll just read the question for the last time. It says the magnitude of the net acceleration from B to C, it's 1.2 meters per square seconds. Okay, calculate the magnitude of the frictional force acting on the crate. I think this is where I need to show you this. Remember, guys, we've just indicated that this object, when it's moving between B and C, okay, when it's moving between B and C, these are the forces acting on that object. So that means you've got 2 forces acting on that object or on that crate as it moves between B and C. So let's now formulate. So guys, remember the formula I've just indicated to you, that is force net is equals to MA. This formula, guys, it's very, very much important. You just need to understand this formula, and then from there what you do is just to expand this formula based on the information that you have. Okay, so now that we know that we've got 2 formulas acting on that object, 2 forces acting on that object, you can just write them down. So we know the first force is force of gravity, okay, plus, why am I saying plus? It's because the formula says net, and we know net refers to total, and when you've got total, it's just summing. You just sum, you just get the sum. Okay, so that's why I'm having a positive there. But most importantly, guys, the other force acting on this object is the frictional force. Okay, why in brackets am I writing a negative force? It's because this object is moving in that direction, of which is assumed to be a positive direction. Okay, but the frictional force is not acting in the same direction in which that object is moving. It's acting in the opposite direction. That's why you've got force plus, I've just indicated y plus into brackets. It's exactly what I just explained now, to say that object or the frictional force is acting in the opposite direction in which that object or that crate is moving. Guys, I hope this statement makes a perfect sense. Then you equate these two MA. Okay? Most importantly, remember guys, A, when this object moves between B and C, it's not increasing, but instead is decreasing. Okay? I've just explained that when it moves between B and C, it's decelerating. So the acceleration is decelerating, or the acceleration is decreasing. Okay? So that means the acceleration is not positively increasing but negatively increasing. You will understand that part when you get to when we start substituting, when we get towards the end of this question. So guys, what is the formula for FG? I've indicated on our first question, I think, was it the first question or the second question? FG, it's mg sine of a theta, the same angle, guys. Now I can just remove those brackets and say minus a frictional force, which is equals to ma. Okay, so guys, let's see. Remember, what does the question wants us to calculate? The question wants us to calculate the magnitude of the frictional force. This is what the question wants us to calculate, okay? But remember, the frictional force, it's experienced between B and C, okay? So, guys, let's now substitute. Have we got the mass? The mass doesn't change, it remains is 25, and then G, we know at all times G is 9.8, then its sine angle, it's 15 degrees, we know. You subtract F. I'm sure, guys, it's just you fully understand that it's just a matter of substitution. I've explained everything. So the mass is 25 again. But I feel like this A, it should be negative 1.2, guys. Where did I get that 1.2? This is where I got the 1.2 from the question. So they said the magnitude of the net acceleration from B to C, it's 1.2 meters per square seconds. Okay, so why am I substituting it in negative? It's because I know from previous grades, from grade 10, they teach us that acceleration, it's a vector quantity. What do you know about a vector quantity? You know a vector quantity, it's a quantity that has both the magnitude and the direction. Okay, so it has the value and the direction, whereas a scalar quantity has got only the magnitude. For example, time is one of the examples of scalar quantity. Speed, distance, these are the types of scalar quantities. Otherwise, instead of speed, we know we can also say velocity. Velocity is a scalar quantity. I mean, it's a vector quantity. Instead of saying or talking about distance, we can talk about displacement. We know displacement is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. So I am still applying the same knowledge. I know this is a vector quantity. It therefore means at all times I must take into consideration the direction in which that object, it's either accelerating or decelerating. But in this case, I know it's decelerating. Okay, so guys, let's try to now calculate. So this is the most important part, guys, to explain to you by firstly formulating the equation, and again by substituting. After substitution, it's just a matter of applying the basics of maths. Okay, so I don't have to go deep into teaching you how to solve for the unknown. I do that in maths lessons. I assume at this stage it's just a matter of you punching on a calculator. Most importantly, guys, can you see this formula? This is a formula that you're normally given in the formula sheet. But when you get to tertiary level, that's where they test your understanding. They can give you a statement where you need to somehow formulate. You need to form an equation. After forming an equation, you need to be able to substitute based on the given statement. So all of that information, guys, or for you to be able to formulate, this is where you start. This is the starting point of training you on how to think, analyze, derive equations and solve problems. Okay, so guys, it's very, very much important that you try by all means to read the statements, try to draw the diagrams if necessary based on the given statements, and again be able to select the right formulas to use. Then this is your tool for this question, and again be able to expand the formula, the correct formula that you've chosen, and again be able to interpret what you've just expanded, just like what I'm saying here. So guys, I hope I'm right with this question, because based on the information that I've provided, I feel like I'm confident that this is the right approach. Okay, and again guys, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the only way of doing this question. In case if your teacher teaches you a different method of doing this question, all you need to do is just to make sure that you know all these methods, you understand these methods, just in case if a question is relevant to this one and you understood one of the simplest methods, then you can just apply that particular method, because questions may come differently. Okay, and you might find that you need both the information in order to choose the best method for the question. Okay, so guys, let's now substitute. Let's now calculate. Remember, you just punch all of this on a calculator, you punch this. Let's just quickly do that. I know when I was busy explaining, you were busy as well punching on a calculator. Sin 15, this is the value that we get. Okay, let's just say I get 63.41066. So I don't want to round off as yet, so that I increase the level of accuracy, guys. Then it's minus f. What is that? It's 25 times 1.2, which is, remember, it was a negative, then it's negative 30. This is the negative, guys. So it's more like you're saying 25 times negative 1.2, so you get negative 30. Okay, so obviously, guys, you're going to move that number to this side of the equal sign, and it changes the sign, it becomes a positive. Then you're going to move this to the other side of the equal sign, it changes the sign, it becomes a positive. So that means frictional force will be equals to 30 plus that number. So it's 30 plus 63.41066. Let's see what answer we get. I'm getting 93.41. So that means an answer is 93.41 Newton. Very much important. So guys, now that we have solved this question, let's just write it in the standard form to say frictional force, it's equals to 93.41 41 Newton. Very much important that you write the SI unit, because it tells the examiner that you know exactly what you were calculating. They just look at your final answer, they see it's in Newton, then they know you've got it correctly. Where do you score marks? Obviously, for the formula, doesn't matter whether you wrote it in that way, in this way, or in that way. Okay, and remember, most importantly, this question is allocated 4 marks. Okay, this is where you score your first mark. For correct substitution on both sides of the equation, we give you a mark, and the last mark obviously comes from your final answer. So guys, this is how you solve for this question. I hope you enjoy it. Guys, I hope you'll be ready for tomorrow's lesson. In this way, this brings us to the end of our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you've watched this video until this end, please do make sure to subscribe. If you feel like this lesson have helped you a lot, please do give it a thumb, like the video. And again, what makes me happy is when you share with your friends this kind of videos. You can either share the link, or you can just recommend your friends to watch my Facebook. Of course, you've got a Facebook channel, but just to watch my YouTube channel, to watch the videos that I post on my YouTube channel. They can also access these videos on my Facebook channel, my Facebook page. But on my Facebook page, I'll be posting each question per day. For example, if today I post question 5.1, tomorrow I'm going to post 5.2. So I just split these questions in sub questions. On my YouTube channel, that's where I do full lessons. So guys, this question, remember, it's there on my Telegram channel. You can just search for Solve Your Exam Papers if you've got a Telegram channel, and you'll be able to access all the question papers for high school. So guys, I enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope you also enjoyed. And this brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Guys, my name is Desmond, and I'm out.